Hey everybody, welcome back to the Workplaces YouTube channel. I'm Trevor and I'm here interviewing, of course, the owner and founder of Workplaces. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Well, it's good to be here. Thank you, Trevor.
Today we are talking about why you're not getting results and how to fix it. So let me guess, your whiteboard is full, your schedule's packed, but your business still feels stuck. This episode cuts through the noise about hustle and hacks and gets real about the difference between dreaming and doing. Bruce Baker joins us here to break down the 4E method of results, a system built for entrepreneurs who are tired of spinning their wheels and want aligned, sustainable growth. I've got a quote from Jeff Bezos of Amazon. Execution is the only strategy the customer sees. Okay, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get started with question number one. What do you see is the most common reason for service-based businesses to stall out, even when they have a good plan?
Yeah. And what you said at the end is exactly what it is that we get very emotionally invested in this plan, the strategy, the vision that we're going to be looking forward to. And we got to remember, we're emotional creatures first. So we get all excited, invest in this, and it doesn't come to fruition. We don't execute anything, right? Okay. Or even if we decide to execute something, it's not really a full form of that plan and leads to a failure.
Okay, Bruce. So you say that strategy isn't the issue, execution is. So why do you think we confuse that in the planning and execution with progress?
Well, it comes with a little bit of history because, it like we go through these cycles in business and people in general where things become hot topics and things become buzzwords, and strategy not too many years ago was the big thing. And when you speak to people about strategy and you actually truly ask them what it is, not many people truly understand what strategy is. And really, strategy is the plan or the actions you plan to take in order to achieve an outcome. So fortunately and unfortunately, people have stuck with, well, I've got a strategy, and that's where it stays. And if it just stays a strategy, it remains the concept that's unused or remains passive. What we need to do is to make sure that the strategy becomes something active and intentional in your mind, so you take physical action to see a result. And why that's important is because humans are one large or significant motivator of humans is that we got to see progress. We got to know that we're making traction. If we don't see that, we tend to get disengaged. So we talk about the great strategy. It's like losing weight, my New Year's resolution, and this is how I'm going to do it. You get to the new year, it doesn't happen. And the reason it doesn't happen is because we forget that that emotional catalyst that started it in the first place, because we haven't taken any action.
Right. And just thinking about that, the analogy came to me about sports.
Absolutely.
Right? So the coach can have all the plays that they want, and they think it's going to be a great game plan going in.
Yeah.
But if the team and every person doesn't execute the plan, it's going to fall apart.
100%. It's exactly the same thing. And frankly, business is the biggest game.
For sure. Yeah. So now let's talk about the 4E pyramid. All right.
You bet.
In the 4E pyramid that you've got set up, emotional investment is the very base of it. Okay.
Yes.
Now, how can a business owner know if they are disconnected from what they're building?
Yeah. The simple answer is the contrast between my emotional investment. And when I say emotional investment, I talk about the excitement, the engagement, the feeling of what it's going to look like at the end. The disconnect between that and actual results. We've got to remember, like I said before, people continue to do something. They're motivated to continue doing something, not because of an emotional investment, right? But because what they did actually brought that emotional, that vision, that dream, that thought, that next step to life.
Right.
People get stuck and feel that, well, there's never enough time, or I just can't get good people today, or I'm just too much of a lazy guy, or I'm just too much of a distracted person. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got everything to do with your ability to take what you emotionally invest and put it into action.
Yeah, that is a big part of success. Is there has to be a connection.
Absolutely.
And if you're not emotionally invested, you're not invested at all.
100%.
Really. Like,
100%.
maybe a relationship with a significant other. If you're not emotionally invested,
Yeah.
it's not going to work.
Yeah, and it's so interesting you said that, because it reminds me of when partners in business, right, and partners in social life, but partners in business, working with clients right now that have a significantly strained relationship based on almost business failure, and we talk about the emotional investment for them to repair their relationship so the business can survive and they can move forward. But the actions to actually do that are difficult.
Yes.
And we don't anticipate what that's going to do to our day-to-day life. So we avoid it, right? It doesn't help you with what you wanted to do in the first place.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, business is difficult.
A little bit.
Okay, now let's talk trade-offs. What are some red flags that someone is skipping the expectation stage layer?
Yeah. The expectations, maybe let me give that a little bit of thought around that. So when we emotionally invest in something, we tend to skip it. And you're talking about the expectation stage, and that's the next level of the pyramid. The expectation is, what are the things that I'm going to have to do, good or bad, sometimes sacrifice, because sometimes you have to sacrifice in order to achieve or go through some level of adversity, before I am ready and committed to actually take action. So what we do with clients on a regular basis is saying, okay, well, I'm glad that you want to do this. I can see that you're motivated to do it. Do you understand what the reality is? Do you understand what reality is going to expect from you as you go through this? We always tell business owners, specifically when it comes to planning, plan for worst case scenario. Oh, but you're a negative Nelly. Plan for worst case scenario, because the likelihood of worst case coming is small compared to the average or the norm. Right. And if worst case had to come, you're ready, right? But in this case, expectations, which is the second level of the pyramid, is there to say, are you prepared to deal with those things? Are you prepared to accept the consequences of that? Because there are going to be those things, but also the good things. If we've mapped that out sufficiently, and if the person that's receiving this information is truly understanding what those expectations are, what reality is in achieving this, they're ready for the next step, right? If they skip that, they're fooling themselves.
Right.
Why? Because they haven't sensitized or desensitized themselves to what that reality is going to be and what those expectations of that reality is going to be.
Yeah, no, that's good. You got to be mentally prepared for all scenarios.
Absolutely.
Or at least try to be.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Nice. What is it? Hope for the best, expect the worst. Is that the kind of scenario?
Absolutely. Yeah. And but there's such a fine line when you say that, because people, I had a client about 2 weeks ago that said, but you're supposed to be motivating me, Bruce, and you're supposed to be encouraging me. And I'm saying, there is the motivation, there is the encouragement, but there's nothing like internal motivation, and most importantly, sustained motivation. Yeah. You can only keep yourself motivated to drive, or as I'm sure we'll get to at the third level of the pyramid, to energize, and to keep that energized once you understand the reality, right? Yeah. Worst case scenario. Yeah. So rather do that than get surprised that halts you in your tracks and you go right back to stage one again.
Yeah. And, I've found in my own life that things never go as poorly as you imagine they will be.
Yeah.
There always some variation thereof. Hey, Bruce, what's the difference between hustle energy and real energy? And how do you help your entrepreneurs with that?
Yeah, great question. Hustle energy it's quick bursts of energy, right? Mm-hmm. It's reactive energy. It's energy that is not necessarily sustained. Okay. It's also energy that is not necessarily focused and intentional on something specific. The energy that we're talking about, which is the third level of the funnel, which is energized, right, is energy that is based on sustainability. It's energy that is there to keep you going as you work through to a point of execution. Remember, it's all about results. People are motivated because what I invested in, I knew all about, second level of the pyramid, understanding my realistic expectations. I'm now energized for the right reason. I'm not energized because it's hustle, hustle, hustle. I'm energized because I know exactly what to expect. I know what the outcome is, right? And even if I hit bad times, I'm still motivated to continue because I expected the bad times.
Right.
That's not hustle. That's sustained energy release based on a purpose and a focus. That's the big difference.
Let's talk about execution, okay?
Absolutely.
So when execution feels hard, chaotic, or inconsistent, what's usually broken in the pyramid?
It's not necessarily what's broken in the pyramid. Execution is always going to be, or there's always going to be some level of hardness in execution.
Okay.
You don't get things in life without working for it. Right? And anybody that says there's a silver bullet or says that there's the quick fix, which is unfortunately, it's like a disease these days, right? Is fooling themselves. And when I say fooling yourself, I talk about the second level of the pyramid of execution. It's truly not understanding what I have to do to get through this. If I'm at that point where, well, Bruce, I've gone through the emotional investment, I've looked at the reality and expectation settings, I'm now energized and I'm executing, but it's really hard and it's inconsistent and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What's really hard and what's really inconsistent is the emotions playing within you. You are a human being first. Emotion comes first. Case in point, I spoke with one of my clients yesterday, and she says, Bruce, I'm panicking. I said, okay, I give her a shot, and we talk with her, and I feel like the walls are falling in. This is happening, that's happening, this is happening. And my immediate turnaround was, what were your expectations? Look at what you've done before. Is anything new? Is anything old? Is it the same old, same old? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose it is, but it still feels like the walls are falling in. What is the ultimate outcome? What are we driving toward? Well, are you still invested? Absolutely. Are the walls falling in? Maybe not so much. Right? So it's very similar to the question you pose, is that when people feel inconsistency and they feel that it's too hard or hard, the difference this time, as opposed to someone that hasn't or doesn't have those fundamentals underneath, the difference this time is that you've got that reference. We did the emotional investment. We knew that. That was easy because we're humans. We do that naturally. Mm-hmm. More importantly, we discussed the expectations. We discussed the reality. You then decided to energize yourself based on that entire concept. And now you're executing. I'm not going to stop because I know what I signed up for, as opposed to, well, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And then we go all the way back again.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's be real. When it comes to entrepreneurship and, running your own business, not every day you wake up energized and wanting to go for it. Right?
Absolutely not.
You have to build the muscle of discipline, as opposed to just, willing yourself to do it. It's just, I'm going to do this just because.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so many people who want to start their own business don't have that discipline muscle built. So really it's, I'm going to do this whether I want to or not. Right. So we'll speak to that a little bit.
Absolutely. It's, when it comes to learning, you go through a couple of phases. Mm-hmm. You start off with being unconsciously incompetent. You don't know that you don't know. Then you become consciously incompetent. I know that I don't know. And then consciously competent. And eventually it moves to a habitual, repeat. Now I don't even know that I'm doing what I'm doing because it's so natural to me. If you don't have the foundation that we're talking about as a startup business, a business that's growing, and you don't have that discipline, it's natural that you won't have that discipline first and foremost. You can go through the pyramid as we've just been discussing, but there is that exercise of repeatability, right? When you start off the business, you're excited, you're emotionally invested. Mm-hmm. When you do it by yourself, and most small businesses start off by themselves, I would suggest that people don't do that, but most people do. There is no reality or expectation setting opportunity. Yeah. So they jump to an immediate energized based on just an emotional investment. Mm-hmm. and then execution tends to become inconsistent, like you referred to earlier on. Guess what happens? Well, I don't want to do this, right? The difference is that if you start to think a little bit differently based on this pyramid, you tend to try it again. This time, you'll say, well, maybe I should talk with someone about what I'm going through. Maybe I'm missing something. A lot of the times people will come and say to you, I had to learn this by myself. Well, yeah, but you referenced something to learn by yourself, whether it was trial by fire or whether it was reading something or talking to someone. Yeah. You start to learn these expectations. As you move through the process again, this time around, you're going to be seeking more information. You're going to be seeking more of that reality and what to expect. If I can handle this, then I'm going to do it again. The difference is this time, I know that I'm going to get some form of traction. It's going to take me a little bit to get there because things take a little bit of time. Sure. But this time I know that I'm going to get some traction because I understand reality much more than what I did in my first shot. Mm-hmm. When I get that execution, I see that result. It could be a small result. It doesn't even have to be a huge result. Guess what I'm going to do again? I'm going to do it again, or I'm going to have this, what you refer to as discipline, because I know there's a reward if I do that over and over again. So that just grows. It's like a tree trunk. First circle, second circle, third circle, and so forth, right? And you become far more disciplined, because at the end of the day, discipline, unfortunately, is we're brought up as kids, and we have to be disciplined, and we have to do this, we have to do that, and that is something that's imposed as opposed to something that you author yourself. And once you can author that yourself, it stops from being I have to be disciplined to that's my norm.
During your discussion there, that brings back to me the importance of having a coach, somebody who's been there, who has helped others, climb the mountain, as they say. Yeah. So that learning curve gets shortened or truncated a little bit, so that you can get to your achieve your goal, your ideal goal sooner.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So the next question we've got here. Now, you've worked with startups, scale-ups, and turnarounds. Which one of those is typical to get stuck?
One of the big is probably scale up, I would say, and second to that would be the turnaround or fix up, right? The scale up typically is because I'm not necessarily driven by fear or driven through consequence. Okay. I'm driven through an emotional investment, meaning I want to open up a new division, meaning I want to take my business to the next level and scale up. It tends to peter out because there's lots of excitement in the beginning, but people are, quote unquote, too busy. They're too distracted with the existing business, the ongoing day-to-day operations. So they're too quick. They skip that expectation piece, jump to the energize. I haven't had time to actually start this yet, but next week is probably when I'm going to do it. It's just been a crazy week this week. And that perpetuates, right? So it falls flat. I have a client that wanted to introduce a new line, manufacturing line, a new product line. And I kid you not, it's been probably 3 years. And the person, the CEO, is still saying, it'll come. One day it's going to happen, right? And this was supposed to be done 3 years ago. And it's for the exact same reasons. A lot of emotional investment, a lot of distraction, no expectation setting with no execution. And that'll never change until such time he, for instance, realizes that I'm not going to be able to do that as much as I typically have been. I'm going to have to sacrifice that for now to get this going.
Yeah, you have to set a deadline.
You do. And nothing gets in your way. It can't get in your way. Well, and the question to you would be, what are the consequences of not getting there, right? Yeah. And if you know what those consequences of not getting there, you've started to dive into the expectations layer of the pyramid. If you can sustain that, and like you said earlier on, a coach, a trusted person, family member, anybody that you trust that'll give you the yays but also the nays, you're going to start to move in that direction, right? If there's no consequence or the loss of something if you don't do it, then the likelihood of you executing and moving through it is very small.
Bruce, let's talk about burnout. So how do we prevent burnout? And using your method, how does it help with that?
Yeah, very similar to what we discussed in the beginning. Burnout is, for the most part, hustle, right? And it's short bursts of energy. I'm sitting down, I'm focusing on something, I'm trying to build something, and I get called away because of whatever the case may be. I come back, I have to sit down, re-engage myself, and then I'm in it for about 10 minutes, and I'm called away and I have to do something else. That is a classical recipe for burnout, because you never allow yourself to settle, focus, and most importantly, get some traction. It's amazing what 10 minutes can do, closed doors, knowing that this is what I want to achieve in the next 10 minutes. You can even say 5 minutes. The feeling of that at 10 minutes, I got that done, is a significant boost in terms of energizing, in terms of accomplishment. What we're doing when we're hustling is that we never end. There's never something that we have in return at the end of that transaction. Burnout is real, specifically in startups. Right? You don't realize that you're burning out until you start obviously displaying the classical symptoms of burnout. Burnout is also an overused word, right? Yeah. Being tired and being burnt out are two very, very different things. The loss of focus, the feeling of I don't want to go into the office today,
right?
Getting irritated with everyone around you, and I can go over and over again. You're starting to see those classical signs, primarily because you're not getting the stuff that you want to get achieved or get done. There's no traction. So why would I? Why would I even want to?
Right. Yeah, you have to have those small wins in order to keep going.
Absolutely.
Get the momentum. And you feel a sense of accomplishment, even if it's a small thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's good, because a bunch of small things makes one big thing.
Huge.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I never forget a client once told me a good couple of years ago saying, I'm a slave to reality. And I said, wow, that sounds terrible. But he was truly very honest with it. And I went back and I started thinking to myself, is like, when you're working for your business as opposed to your business working for you, I suppose you start to think about that. But one of the key reasons is because I want to achieve things. I want to do these things. I want to make sure that I can leave a legacy or whatever the case may be. And it's consistently the same for people that are doing that the whole time. They're hustle, 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 burning out. Reality is becoming numb, right? And their business that was once something of proud for them is now becoming something that, like he said, right, I'm a slave to reality. That's sad. Remember that you have to nurture yourself. So what does nurture mean? Nurture is that fuel. And what is the fuel for us to be able to move forward? The feeling that I got it done. Even if it's hanging up a freaking picture in your lunchroom, I got it done.
Yeah.
Right? People absolutely underestimate this incredibly powerful component of human behavior. Anything that we get done, it's like people come back and say, you know what, I cleaned up my kitchen today, or I cleaned up my office today, right? And man, I feel good.
All right, Bruce. So how can somebody who is watching today apply the 4 E's?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So first and foremost, there's a great little ebook that comes part of this. And I'd love for encourage people to download the ebook. There are a lot of interactive exercises in the ebook. Gives people an opportunity to start trying it out. Anybody that's listening right now, there's absolutely one skeptic, right? Okay. And the one skeptic will also say, I don't know if I have time to do that. I don't know is that even going to work, whatever the case may be. I would encourage everybody or motivate people to give it a try and practice it. And you'd be astounded at what actually happens at the end. It's quite liberating. So give it a try, use the tools. And, there's also reach out there to ourselves and workplaces and myself. And like you said early on in the discussion, right? Reach out to someone. It's not going to cost you a cent. reach out to someone saying, hey, I've tried this out, but this is not working. Hey, I've tried this out, but this is really working well. So let's do it again. Let's practice it over and over again.
Bruce, final question. What does it look like when a business finally starts being in alignment and executing?
Yeah, it's happy people that look forward to seeing the next result. It's as simple as that. It's a great example. I was working with a team of managers and their employees about 2 years ago, and I introduced what we were going to do. Everybody was pretty excited by the notion of this is what's going to happen. They were very excited, like all of us are, about what the end result was going to look like. And then lo and behold, I say, okay, this is what we have to do to get it done. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to have enough time. I'm so busy, this and this and that. And unfortunately, the leaders weren't encouraging their employee or their team as much anyways. And for the first 2 weeks, it fell flat on its face. Probably the third week in, I had one of the employees come up to me, her name's Sky, and she said to me, you know what? I actually did what we said, and man, what a huge difference it makes. Right? And we're doing this, we're doing that. We actually managed to get that, whatever it was, some tool that they were building, we managed to get it done. And this woman, till today, I've known her for about 6 years now.
Okay.
Till today, an absolute dynamite of a human being. She just drives and executes. She comes into the office, I kid you not, maybe 9, if not 10 out of 10 times, ready to take the day on. On contrast to that, you have people that saying, well, I know it was a really good idea, it still is a good idea, but I'm just not finding the time to do it. Right? That's the opposite of what we're actually trying to achieve. We want to be a Sky.
Yeah.
We don't want to be that. And with all respect to those people, it's not because they don't want to. They got excited in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's not because they don't want to. It's because they don't understand how that's going to fit into their day-to-day activity, right? Mm-hmm. If you understand and you take it to that second level, you then learn or you plan to incorporate that in your day-to-day because you want to, not because you have to.
Yeah.
And when you start to see the results like Sky, for instance, it's a very different story.
If you guys are looking for some help, you need someone to talk to, and you want to talk to Bruce here at Workplaces, there's a link down in the description of this video where you can get access to that ebook that he's talking about. And you can also just give him a call and set up that initial consultation and maybe explain that a little bit to us.
Yeah, absolutely. The any call that's made to me, of course, if it's a person that's local, always love to have a coffee with people. Sometimes it's virtual, whatever the case may be. We sit together for an hour and a half, and we work with you intensively for that hour and a half. Hopefully, as you leave that discussion, you have some golden nuggets that you can take with you. And so the conversation is always there. I mean, if it's a phone call, we stay on the phone and we talk through it. And that's as simple as that. We call it a business building session. Mm-hmm. So encourage people to take advantage of that. It's not going to cost them a cent.
All right. Awesome. Thanks so much. And we'll see you guys on the next video.